We could say hello to the internet.
And a great idea.
Hello.
Hello, internet.
Hello.
Hi.
And also remember that I saved like everyone, because Garn's a hero now.
John is a hero.
Dad.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to what will likely be our last session of Out of the Abyss. We find ourselves here with the opportunity of making our way to the surface. We have maps that can navigate us from Mantol de Reith to the Dark Lake and Grachelstorg and Blingdenstone, which is where we will probably go next. We have finally defeated the drow that have been plaguing us since we met each other, since we were forced together in this hapless situation. Here we are in a phase rest filled cave where magic can go astray. And we take a breath and relax and find the Roth, the pack animals that have all of our equipment on them, and indeed a lot of the equipment from our now deceased merchant leader. I'll supply you with that in a moment. But the Underdark is once again quiet, save for the chitter of bats and the music of crickets and the slow, steady rushing of water that passes underneath the bridge that magically opened up due to the wild magic that is infusing this particular part of the Underdark. You look at each other and consider all that you've been through and start counting your discoveries. Is there anything that you'd like to do beyond tallying what you've found?
I think I grabbed the Wafway and the tentacle rod.
The what rod?
The tentacle.
Tentacle.
Rod.
Okay.
I think that they were brought up.
I
at the end
must
of
have
last
missed
session.
that one. That was what? What is a tentacle rod?
Have you never seen it?
I
No.
haven't.
had it with Sorn in the last campaign. I think I
Ah,
got a couple attacks off with it. It's
Yeah, it's like what drow maidens have, or like
okay.
matrons. That's the word I'm looking for.
Well then, I
It's
think I
like you get
prefer not to know.
3 attacks, and if you hit them with all 3, then they have to make a save or get paralyzed or something like that.
Okay,
It's a
that's
pretty
interesting.
nifty item.
Like a slave rod, but
Yeah,
tentacles.
exactly.
1,000 tinder kits.
Oh yeah, it's 15-foot reach. It's really crazy.
I'm gonna swipe left on those.
Oh, so it's more like a whip. Okay. Très cool. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Gnome-sized plate armor. That's just a plate. Well, I guess it's a bittersweet moment as we think about the fight and who we lost and who we saved. What do we want to do now? Just continue on to Blingdenstone as the best we
lost like
can?
the best NPC, and we got to keep Jimjar.
Yeah. I went to the Underdark and all I got was this deep gnome.
You forgot the word lousy before Deep Gnome.
That's
the important part of that phrase.
It's a bit redundant though, isn't it?
True.
9 out of 10 people thought I'd never make it this far.
Yeah, because I've got some spells to cast, but I don't want to do it in the phase res area.
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
What do
close
you
that
have to
door, Brent.
lose?
Actually, after the mushroom attack, I'm going to cast Ritual Cast, detect poison and disease.
Alright.
Am I good?
Yeah, the ritual does not set off the phase rest. Too slow and purposeful. And you wanted to detect poison and disease regarding what?
I'm making sure like I didn't get like infected with the spores. I passed the check,
No.
but I'm being paranoid.
No, that's fortunately not. No, for it was a virulent plague indeed. The Gutmoy spores, her way of spreading her influence throughout the Underdark, was related to these infections.
I guess if I check everyone else in the party, they 5.
Everyone else is fine too. Yeah.
That's good.
Good.
So we're going to. I mean, are we going to set up a camp here, or are we going to head off pretty quickly?
Mm. There's a source
Think
of
we
water
need to
here.
rest.
Convenient. Yeah,
We should rest.
We
At the
were
same
pretty
time, we
tired
should
when
have
landed.
we should have some watchers. Might be that it was not the only drow party out there.
Well, us elves
idea.
can split shifts. That takes up half the watchers.
I'm okay with that.
All right. So you protect your flanks. The elves take care of most of the watching. But nothing comes by during our time here, and the steady music of the cricket and remains constant while the bats come and go, and the river is rushing clean and clear, full of fish and snails and other critters.
Alright, let's gather up what we can of what remains of the caravan and continue.
On to Blingdenstone. Alright.
I guess I will change some spells around.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Just the paladin ones, because I can only change one bard like per long rest, I think.
Yeah. All right. So, the maps will tell you the way, for you know not the way without them. The original main routes should become obvious, but once you get to a branch, without the maps, you'd be lost. Fortunate they're pretty clear for anyone who can read Elven, and so Marielle and Lithrana are invaluable at this point. And we travel for several hours in the direction that we are expecting to find our destination.
Do we leave the phase res area like at any point, like any visible?
Absolutely. Yeah. Shortly after we leave the phase res.
Yeah. And I will take the time to cast Find Steam.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So riding lizard, like, hey guys, I befriended an angel like lizard.
A beautiful golden lizard, resplendent and glorious, with a little halo circling above its head, comes to serve.
It's like he just sort of walks around the corner and comes back 10 minutes with it.
Kind of looks like a have you ever seen a blue tongue lizard? A big fat skink. It's like that. All right, and so you've got this magnificent golden lizard with its halo, and it's willing to serve you. The party is mildly impressed based on their reactions.
I looked at the blue tongue lizards and I
I've
already
seen
love them.
lizards before.
All right. We travel through the Underdark for another 12 hours or so. Maybe longer, maybe shorter. It's a little difficult to tell. And we make camp yet again in some kind of shallow cave covered with stalactites that has some fresh water. The next morning, or if we can call it a morning, the next time we start traveling again, we've only been going for about 3 or 4 hours when you notice I'm gonna ask, do you know what snot looks like when it's dry? We all do. So imagine like a great boogie, is what we call them in Australia sometimes. Imagine a great load of snot that has been sprayed across the floor, but has desiccated and dried out and is now just flaky.
Yeah.
Cool, hey.
That doesn't look good.
I love Underdark. I love the Underdark adventures. You come across like dry snot, it's great.
Finally, some food. No.
Would I have seen anything like this before in my journeys in the Underdark?
Probably have, so make a nature check.
It's like a
It's
dead
not a-
like slime or something.
Slime is not a rare commodity in the Underdark. But this particular slime is just too dry for you to identify. It doesn't have any color to it. It's not yellow or green. It's a crystalline, transparent, glassy color. But it's still in flake. They crumble as soon as you touch them. There's very little that you're able to ascertain, Badger.
This is strange. I don't know what this stuff is.
I think it's slime badger.
Dried slime? What
Is it
dried them out?
fire?
Maybe.
But I still don't want to touch it. Can we like go around it?
Really, like yes and no. It's the passage is about 15 feet wide, sometimes wider, sometimes narrower, and it's more or less in the middle, like a great big meter, 2 meter, 6 foot wide strip. Yeah, and you can't really you can go around on the sides, like it's only 6 feet wide and a 15 feet wide passage. In many cases, you can walk along and avoid it, but it's going up the guts of the same passage you are, and as you continue along, it grows more moist, more viscous, less husky and dry and flaky, and more snottish and slimy, greasy.
Yeah.
We might be entering into a ooze's lair or nesting ground.
Are you sure this is the way the map says to go?
You can make a survival
Yeah.
check, I suppose, or some other way of interpreting it. You'll have advantage, but it does seem to be, yeah.
Make a check then.
If
Survival.
yeah, like as far as
well.
you're starting to doubt yourself now. You ever second guessed yourself? You've just lost confidence in your own ability. You thought you knew where you were going.
Can I have a look at the map?
Sure, go ahead. I have no idea where we are.
Can you speak Elven, Mr. Kobold?
No, I can't. But they can translate, can they?
They can, and
No
yeah,
pass
we're on
without
the right
trace?
track. There's no doubt about it. We're on the right track. Blingden Stone looks hard to find, like without a map at least. It would appear that it's been deliberately obscured. It lies off the main trade routes, for example, but you're on the right track.
Yeah, it looks like we're going the right way.
Mm-hmm. Well, if that's the case, we've got no choice but to go through this area.
If you follow this road long enough, you'll reach Menzo Baranzo.
Like, can you put a tidal wave down here?
It's an interesting
Try and
thought.
wash it out? Maybe.
Just flush the Underdark like a toilet.
Hmm. It will make a lot of noise, though.
I mean, you're the guide. You know what's best.
I think we just tread carefully and try not to step in anything that might want to eat us.
Is there any slime on the walls?
You know, occasionally there is. A little bit there is, but generally no. But sometimes, if the roof is low enough, like 8 feet instead of 15, there's slime on the roof.
It's time to be on the walls with my lizard friend.
Alright, you go along the side. These things are pretty clean.
I've named him Tilson. That means lizard in Draconic.
Uh-huh. He is proud of his name.
See, I've got all the animal friends. I've got Prancer, now I've got Tilson. I've even got a badger.
I do love a good menagerie.
And the funny thing that you can hear my character's monologue, so like he probably heard that, like So I guess every time I say Garn thinks something, everybody hears that.
Yeah, good call. Alright, so this slime isn't exactly blocking our path, you know, any more than a strip of paint might. We can walk around it relatively easily, although one of the Roth might accidentally stumble into it. I guess that's a consideration. Is there anything else that you want to know? Just ask.
Well, I guess as we go forward, I will, flick a bit of frost towards any particularly wet-looking patches of slime, just to make sure that it's not sentient and about to attack us. So, kind of like going through it with a flamethrower, but with frost instead.
The frost seems to be effective. Because it is kind of a little bit organic. In fact, it's maybe sentience and a exaggeration, but it does react. You freeze it, and it tries to flex or flee or defend itself, but it's only a handful of snot at worst, and your frost bolts kill it virtually instantly. But yeah, it does appear that this slime has some ability to react to stimuli.
Yeah, well, hopefully the frost bite gets it.
It does.
Numbs it, kind of like how you smoke bees. Just
Yeah.
try and frost it and keep moving through it without agitating it too much.
Sure. So it slows us down as you move 30 feet, blast, move 30 feet, blast. Is that basically what you're going to be doing? Just going through here slowly and systematically?
I think so. Yeah, just
Yeah.
to make it as safe as possible.
Right. It slows us down, obviously, but it's less of a concern because the drow aren't in pursuit of us. Nonetheless, Badger, why don't you roll? Let's see what you should roll.
I start rolling on the ground.
That's it. Why don't you start drop and roll? Suppose you could roll a d20. All right. Yeah. No, that's good. So you're systematically pushing along, freezing this trail of slime. An hour by hour, 3-4 hours later, it's beginning to just get worse. What you do is no less effective, but the trail of slime appears to be thicker, more viscous, more fluid, more frequent, more responsive. Yeah, it's starting to look less like it began as just a dry husk, then it became a small trail. Now it's starting to become like patches of plasma, afterbirth, some kind of organic jelly. Yeah, like a jelly.
Hmm.
Does it look
What
like
if-
the leftovers of like a trail of like a large slug or something?
Maybe you can make an investigation roll, or a nature check as you prefer, since both of those would probably be appropriate for that question.
I am not good at either of those.
Yeah.
7.
Inconclusive, I suppose, but it's theoretically possible. But that doesn't explain the slime on the roof, because normally a snail wouldn't have much slime on its shell. Maybe it has slime on its head.
Maybe it's just big.
Yes.
So like
Maybe it's just that
everyone's
big.
getting the mental thought of like a giant slug coming down this corridor.
Yeah, not a snail, but a slug that's so big that it touches the roof.
Maria, Lethrana, you both know magic, right?
Oh, I
Yeah.
can cast
You-
spells too.
Can any of you illuminate our way forward? I do not wish to be caught unawares.
I can do small lights, but nothing big.
Oh, I can do a light. He'll touch something and cast light on it.
There's illumination.
Usually I would be very against using light down here, but if we're dealing with oozes, then it won't matter if there's light or not, and I'd rather have a clearer view of things.
I guess he'll do it on like a coin. But yeah, but if we don't want it anymore, I can put it in my pocket, and then the light's gone again.
Right.
If you were to give me the coin, Gon, a mage hand and extend it in front of us so we can see what's ahead before we actually step on anything.
I can make the flame bigger.
He thinks that like I don't want to give away my gold, like you're my friend, so he'll give it to you.
And you because you think it, everyone hears it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was at this moment.
give-
Exactly. So yeah, you've got this brightly glowing coin, intensified by Lithrana's magic and held out in front of you by Marielle's magic, and it proves to be remarkably effective. For less than 10 minutes later, we see up ahead, glistening within the transparent jelly, is a set of bones. They don't appear to be remarkable. In fact, it's just a bat. But you find a set of bat bones that are both complete and polished clean, sitting there within the jelly.
Definitely, it does look like oozes.
Is it like in the middle of our path, or?
No, sort of, yeah. Like, in the middle of the path, yes, but not blocking your path, if that makes sense, because it's like the strip in the middle of the road. You could go on left or right, and it wouldn't block you. But there it is, up ahead. The jelly is about 2 inches deep. It's not that deep, but it's deep enough to hold a bat skeleton, and the bat skeleton gleams as if it's been polished.
So question, with the light, does it offer any sort of like refraction that makes the ooze more obvious? And if so, is there more than one, or is it just this one in front of us right now?
The short answer is yes, but it's not even an ooze. It's still just the trail. It's rather in the trail of jelly, which is a couple of yeah.
Residue or something.
Exactly, like a residue. And yeah, the light does, bend a little bit as it tries to go through, maybe even creates little rainbows from the prism. But which would indicate that yes, whatever is creating this ooze. Where if you were to find this goo in substantial amounts, then the light would look at it through a kind of distorted lens. Yeah, a distorted lens,
Okay.
like frosted glass, perhaps. All right, we press on. Less than an hour later, we finally catch up to what might be the source of this. By now, the trail has become quite moist, quite thick and quite deep, but no harder to dodge. As long as the tunnel remains broad, then you're able to get around it, and where it's not, surely you can ferry yourselves across the walls, given that we have a giant lizard to do just that. The creature, something comes into view. It blocks the majority of the tunnel. The tunnel's about 15 feet wide, about 8 feet tall, and it reaches from the floor to the ceiling. It's roughly as wide as it is tall, that is 8 or 9 feet, and it appears to be entirely transparent. A great big gooey square that is pushing its way forward. It doesn't seem to regard you, have noticed you at all. It's just pushing on up ahead slowly at a speed that you will eventually catch up to.
With my keen mind, can I remember the name of that ooze we met?
Glabagool.
Glabagool. I wonder if this is him.
Why don't you stick your hand in and find out?
We did find out
Yeah, is there a goblin hand in him?
Not anymore.
Yeah. Do you think I'd send a message to it and ask?
You can try. I've never known those things to be sentient enough to talk.
We met one that talked to us, and I suppose I can ask.
Yeah, I
Well-
met someone who said that about kobolds.
Madness runs rampant down here, so you believe what you want to believe.
Can I point my finger at the ooze, if it's obviously within 120 feet, and
Yep.
ask, "Are you Glabagool? Or Glabagool, is that you?"
Who is this? Is this a friend? Is this a friend?
Oh my god.
You tell me first. Is your name Glabagool?
Yes, I am Glabagool, and I feel compelled to follow this path. Will you join me? I could use the company.
Guys, I think this is Glabagool that we met in the dungeon.
Good lord.
What is he different when you saw him last?
It's about the same, I think. Probably, I don't know.
A little bit bigger, maybe?
Yeah, maybe a bit taller.
Bit slimier.
It's like,
Hasn't washed.
it's still got that Old Spice freshness to him there.
It says a lot that a slime is making more time, better time than us. in the Underdark.
I did like that as well. It's like, he only moves 20 feet, but he doesn't have to stop for bullshit in Gracklestalk, so he gets there first. It's like the tortoise and the hare, man.
Should have just fucking followed him, eh?
Should have just followed him.
Yeah, but does he have extra attack now?
Ooh, good call. Alright. I would be delighted if you would be my companions as I travel along this road.
Yeah,
But I don't know where it goes.
Well, we know where it goes, but do you remember us? It's only
We-
a couple of us you'll remember now.
Yes, I disgorged a weapon for you.
Gee, I don't even remember that.
Remember that mace?
Oh, yes, that Dalgrim has.
That's the one.
Yes. Well, what an adventure.
What an
Amazing.
adventure. We all
we
come
don't
full
have much
cube.
choice. We don't have much choice but to follow him as he takes up the entire hallway.
I guess that you don't. It's like when you're following a big heavy load on the highway. It's just no getting around it, you know. Guess we set in a fucking nail space then.
Scan just has a thought like, if you pop him, we like explode like a balloon.
He says, "No, I will leak like a drain."
Hey, it's rude to listen to people's thoughts like that.
Oh, sorry.
I don't listen to your mind, do I?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, anyway, let's go. We're gonna go
Okay.
slow as is, so.
We gotta go slow as is anyway.
Can I try to stop the Roth from eating the ground slime?
You can do your very best.
Okay.
Alright. So, it takes us several more days before we finally reach the vicinity of the Deep Gnomes, but we do get there inevitably. At first you spot waymarkers, sculptures of gnomish figures, but made to giant proportions. Old frescoes, many of them colourful, whose paint can't be seen with dark vision, but can be seen quite clearly with a torch, but whose paint has chipped and faded away over the centuries since they were put up. But more frequently, sculptures, geometric patterns and the like that have been carved or worked into the stone, artistic decorations that are the hallmark of civilization, and they begin days out from Blingden Stone, but gradually become more and more frequent. A lot of them have been smashed or defaced, just as many of them have suffered the weathering of time. Not that there is a lot of weather in the Underdark, but moss and mold and earthquakes can still change things quite significantly. It seems like you might be about to pass on by and just keep travelling down the main road when a subtle and rather narrow passageway off to the left is almost missed by you all. But we've got some astute minds on the job, and the maps and Snowy's notes, everything that we know. And all of this means that we're able to take the correct route, which will lead us deeper and deeper into the Gnomish settlement. The first signs of real civilization you hear is the tink-tink-tinking of mining. But before you discover any miners, you come across some unpatrolled, unmanned terrace gardens. Mushrooms, some of which glow, some of which do not, some of which are fragrant, and some of which are positively awful. And they grow in these planned terraces within a cave, a rather wet cave. It's quite clear that people farm these areas. There are hoes and rakes and other farming implements better suited to mushrooms than surface crops, but no sign of any people, just the tink, tink, tinking of distant mining.
We're drawing close, it would seem.
Certainly sounds that way.
Jimjar, are your people welcoming?
Well, that's kind of difficult to say. You see, they're a real nice lot, real friendly, good-hearted, best people in the Underdark, I guarantee. But, well, 9 out of 10 times they'll turn away anyone who turns up at their door. They've had a lot of problems in the past with visitors, and they don't trust real easy.
Well, I mean,
Well,
could
we
you-
have a contract to bring something here. They can't really turn us away, can they?
Shrugs his shoulders.
Yeah, all these trade goods, they wouldn't let that just. I'm sure, like, the king wouldn't let that just not get in.
Well, I think that's going to improve our chances significantly. Why, I'd even bet that if we show them what we got, they'll let us come straight in. With yours truly to vouch for us, of course.
Yeah, I think we have good odds of getting inside.
Yeah, good odds.
You better vouch for me, Jim Jar, after all we've been through.
Oh, sure, Lithrana, of course. I mean, I've seen what you can do. You're a real killer. There's so much you can lay devastation and waste it. That is to say, well, maybe you'd be better off waiting outside.
No, I'll come in. I promise not to do anything.
Sure thing. You got my trust. But well, you should all know, Blingdenstone got destroyed about 100 years ago by a bunch of dark elves just like you. Why, came from Menzo Baranzan just like you. And they were first infiltrated by lone operatives who managed to get on the good side of local people. Just like, you sure you don't want to wait outside?
I'm not waiting outside.
Well, you're quite skilled with illusions, aren't you? Can you make yourself look different?
Maybe if I had a spell book to study other spells, but no. I suppose I can do like a
I thought I
cheap
saw a
minor
spell-
illusion.
I thought I saw a spell book for sale in the other place that we came through.
Not with what I would need in it. I suppose I could do like since I can alter the minor illusion, I can do like a jerry rig disguise self.
Yeah,
I just
absolutely.
shouldn't talk because that would look terrible.
We'll find you a spell. Exactly. We'll find you a spell book inside. My people make the best books. Why, they make the best spellcasters too. Gnomes. Ain't nobody got anything on gnomes.
Ain't
Yeah, but
nobody got anything.
I've actually
No.
got some makeup now, so like we can make a disguise.
Oh no, I'm good, thank you.
I could make you look like an elf.
I already am an elf.
I mean, like the elves from the book. You know
I
the
think
good
he's
ones keep
talking
alive.
about whitewashing you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, it's not racist when Drow do it.
Sure.
It may just be better to go in normally. It's better to be caught out immediately than caught out halfway through the game.
That I do have to agree with. If you attempted to slip in and they discovered the ruse, it would be, I would assume, nigh impossible to convince them that our intentions were good.
Yeah, and this Firth Neville are usually pretty good with illusions, so they might see straight through it.
And besides, you have a number of people here to vouch for you, and I really don't care.
You
Let's
notice that
continue onwards, then.
the tink tinkering has stopped.
Oh, you think it's their break?
Well, they've heard us.
Hello, gnomes.
Your voice echoes through the chambers.
Should we continue?
Perhaps tell them who we are.
That's a good idea. We're traders from the city back there. We have lots of goods.
There's no one to answer you. Although you do hear the distant bleating of a Roth.
Well, nothing for it but to follow the sounds.
Just hope we aren't suddenly riddled with crossbow bolts.
Don't worry,
Every-
they'll kill the drow and kobold first.
Huh.
Okay, I feel much better now.
All right. Okay, so you travel along deeper within this cave, and you still the mining doesn't resume. Everyone can make a perception check as you try to look out for hidden crossbows and any other thing. All right, cool. So Lithrana, you are the first to spot two things. The first thing you spot appears to be a glyph, a rune, a geometric pattern that isn't like the others. It's not just decorative. Perhaps it glows with the dull color of phase res. Perhaps that's what sets it apart for you and makes it distinct. But it is quite distinct from the other geometric patterns, and you do recognise it for what it is, at least in a basic sense, a ward. Wards are magical defences generally. They have relatively specific triggers and relatively specific effects.
Hold on, just wait. I spotted a defense ward. Jim Jar, do you know anything like a password maybe that will let us through, or ways to contact them?
Sorry, I mean, it's 2 out of 3 chances that they've already changed the password if it ever was one I knew. You're on your own, pal.
Could I yell out in just
Yeah.
common, I guess, and just say, we were mercenaries on a caravan. We seek no harm to Blingdon Stone. We just want to deliver these goods and be gone.
Jim Jar, do you think you could say the same thing but in Gnomish?
You sure that's a good idea?
Why would it not be?
All right then. And no one else can understand gnome, can they?
I don't think so.
No.
He asked that. So I'm the only one that can speak this language, am I?
I think so, yes.
Oh boy, he rubs his hands together. And he yells out, he starts yelling out something, but he stops and laughs a bit. And he gets his out together. He lets out something, but no, he can't. He's laughing. He lets out says something. And, well, they know we're coming now.
What did you say?
I said we were mercenaries, and we just want a peaceful trade and be on our way. Right? Right? Yeah.
You didn't say we kidnapped you and made you a slave, and now the gnomes are going to kill us, right?
He thinks about that for a while and clicks his fingers. No, I didn't do that.
Do not just about that. They might be listening. In any case, where is this ward, Lithrana?
I put to it, I guess.
It's up on the roof there, carved into a fairly low roof up in the corner, for want of a better term.
I will point a finger up to it and whisk it around and then pull it down towards myself and try
Sure.
to dispel the magic of it.
Alright, you rip it off and pull it down and dispel the magic, and now it's just a mundane chunk of rock with a pretty picture on it. The phase rest is driven out. And yeah, it's now nothing more than a decoration.
In case it's harmful.
not sure the inhabitants would take too kindly to us dispelling their glyphs, but we've
Then they
never
should have
tried.
hidden them better.
I think we should get going before they get like bored or something.
Yeah, I feel like if anybody was watching us, they surely would have acted as soon as you dispelled the glyph.
The next thing that
So,
you find, the next thing that you find a few hundred feet beyond, 500 feet perhaps, Lithrana are a pair of feet made entirely of salt. They appear to be child size, gnome size perhaps, and these feet break off at the ankle, but having not touched it or tasted or smelled it, it looks like they are composed entirely of salt.
All right, Jim Joe. Anything you know about the feet of salt?
He points out that there is salt scattered around it as well, but apart from the fact that he can't make anything. A pair of feet, child size, that break off at the ankle, composed entirely of salt, white salt, pure white salt, and that salt is also scattered around around the feet as well, relatively thick, as if someone had spilt a bag of salt.
Like, is it like a child gnome or a
No, like a human child
Okay.
or a gnome adult. Yeah,
the feet? Are they going like down the corridor? 'Cause
they appear to be looking towards one of the many side of the wall here. This hole is about 3 feet, 4 feet wide, as much as feet can look, pointing towards them.
it's a pair of feet made of salt.
Is there like a monster or something? Like you look at it and it turns you into salt.
Can I? What do I have? Oh, can I just throw something at the pile? Is it ash?
Yeah, it's more like a scattered. If you dropped a bag of salt, or threw a few handfuls of salt on the floor, that's
Yeah.
no particular pattern.
Make sure it wasn't like a disintegrated gnome or something.
No, not disintegrated. Calcified perhaps.
How do traders come here if it's so difficult to get in the front door?
I think this is just an ill omen again.
Or just to
Yes.
like scare us away?
No,
They
much
want-
the same with Neverlight Grove.
I
Oh, you
feel
think
like
something's happened?
I feel like this is the unfortunate remains of a deep gnome scout or lookout, perhaps. Although, what kind of creature can turn someone to salt? I have no idea.
I think it's called League of Legends.
Carry on, I guess.
All right.
I think what I'll do at this stage is I will wild shape into a spider
Yeah.
and I will begin crawling along the roof of this, just watching over the party as they continue on.
All right. And are we still traveling with Glabberghoul? Have we slowed down to his speed?
I think so, yeah. If he can be at the back, that'd be great.
Yeah. He'll clean up the salt as he goes past.
He's our Roomba. He can't clean up. Yeah, he can just clean up our tracks so no one can follow us,
Yeah,
right?
exactly right. Disinfects your tracks.
Although it does mean that we now have a mobile obstacle behind us.
Yeah.
We've got nowhere to back up into.
No,
Unless
that's
we
true.
want to be engulfed by a Gelatinous cube.
It's harder to be attacked from the back, but yeah, you're right. There's fewer options of where to go.
Yeah.
All right.
so-
Any thoughts or actions? No. All right. We we continue along in our direction. And Glabagal gladly eats these salty feet, which is a new experience for him. We come to a side. We're going in the main cavern still. Main cavern. It's about 8 feet, 9 feet wide, a little bit shorter, 7 or 8 feet tall. We can keep following the main passage, but there is a passage off to the left-hand side that has light. It's probably a lantern light because it's not steady. It seems that somewhere around the corner, a lantern is swinging like a pendulum, and in doing so, it casts light and shadows in equal proportion down that particular side chamber. It's quiet here, very quiet.
Kind of glance up to a badger and a spider badger on the ceiling and point out
Badger.
the light, and then gesture towards it as if to indicate that perhaps you should take a look.
You see all 8 of my eyes, if not more, look at you, then look at it, and I will skitter over to it,
Brilliant.
creepily so, as I try to wrap up the light in a web and stick it solidly against the ceiling.
All right. So you go down this corridor about 30 feet. You round a corner to where the light source is emanating from, and you look into a work site. That work site has mining picks lodged into the walls and other mining picks cast aside. It has a mining cart that is about half full of some kind of ore, and it has a lantern that swings, 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 swings. It's losing momentum, and it looks like it's going to settle into equilibrium all on its own if you leave it for another 20 seconds or so.
I will just attempt to web like the work area just to see if I catch anything in my web. Invisible, maybe.
Sure. Go ahead and roll an attack with disadvantage.
I haven't got my form up, but I will.
Maybe just roll a d20 plus
Yeah.
4 or something, yes. Plus 6, whatever.
Oh, disadvantage, right?
Yeah, disadvantage. That's brilliant. Alright. Someone screams out something in a language you don't understand, and we should probably. I'll go to a different. To go to the main screen, and we can roll for initiative. The spider's about 30 feet away from us down a little corridor and looking into a main room.
Do I see if I've caught anything or not?
Sure did. You've caught a humanoid about 2'10" tall.
I will give a look of surprise as much as a spider can, and then clack my mandibles fervorously as I point with 2 of my left legs to where I webbed.
All right.
So I was gonna say, how tall is Jim Jack? I always thought like he was a drow. You said he was a deep gnome.
No, he's not a drow. He's a deep gnome.
Yeah, it's like how tall is he?
About 2'10".
That means Garn is taller than him by I think 2 inches.
But you've got hair, right? No, you don't have hair.
No.
Neither do deep gnomes.
Garn is
Exactly,
solid
that's
3
what-
feet tall.
That was going to be his excuse that he's bald. The extra 2 inches is all hair. That doesn't work.
Can you fix my initiative? The first button to go through.
Cool.
I got.
What's
an
it meant to
18.
be? I think.
18. 18.12.
All righty, Mr. Vexpor.
Thank you.
Gone. So, you hear some screaming coming out in a language you don't understand, and the spider looks at you, lifts two of its limbs, and gestures down a corridor. The spider is 30 feet away from you.
I guess I'll move up to the spider.
All right.
Do I see
You
what
can-
he's webbed? I mean, do I see
you
what
can-
he's got?
You see the scene of what looks like a little mining operation, and there is something in a cocoon.
I will cast.
Spider. It's about the size of a 2-year-old.
Oh, so I see a person.
It looks like a 2-year-old wrapped up in a cocoon. Yeah.
Oh, hello, we're traders. Are you doing okay?
Traitors! Traitors! Traitors!
I will cast Calm Emotions.
Alright. It gets a 10.
Yeah, I will. I can make a target indifferent to creatures of my choice. So I'll make it indifferent towards all of us. Hey, there's no
Alright.
need to worry. We're here to be friends.
Ah! Well, I don't really want to be friends, but I don't want to be enemies either. So I kind of feel a bit ambivalent about the entire situation.
That's better than before, right?
He says all of that in Undercommon.
I still don't understand you. Can you speak normal common?
He refuses to speak normal common.
I look down to Garn and try to translate in Spider-nese.
I'm
Most
already
of at least-
concentrating on a spell badger. I can't speak to animals at the moment.
Mostly sign language.
Never mind. That I can. It's not concentration.
There you go. So yeah, you are able to translate from the spider. It's complex, and some of the more crucial concepts are lost in the arachnid translation.
This is the deep gnome speaking to the spider who's speaking to me.
Yeah, it's spiderese whispers. It's complex.
So where's everyone else? We heard some people mining.
And everybody else, Badger. Yeah, what do you do?
I will rappel myself down from the ceiling using a spindle of web. And as I reach the floor, I will retract my arms into myself, and my abdomen pops back into my ass, and I take my humanoid form again.
I'm sorry, I didn't think I'd actually catch anything. I'm with him, and we have friends further back.
Vexpor rushes up to catch you, but not taking any chances. A couple more deep gnomes launch poison darts at Badger. One of them striking and forcing a Constitution saving throw. When they come into view, they are blurred, completely out of distortion, like an optical illusion.
I look at the dart as it hits me, and I just let out a little involuntary,
"Ow, stop that."
Please don't hurt us! They say after they throw you darts at you.
I mean, I'll stand there and take it if they're just doing that much damage. So I'll be like,
"Ow, stop, please."
Like
They're throwing
when
you.
the cat scratches you.
That's like that. They're throwing you. Catch most of this seat. What do you do?
I think it's best for me to stay back.
Oh, sorry, Mario. I'm sorry.
Oh, Mario.
It's the elf
All
we
right.
like.
Unfortunately, I cannot speak Undercommon, so I'll just just approach in a non-threatening manner and just try to tell him that we mean no harm in common.
All right. I don't understand it, but your gestures are peaceful and you're kind of pretty, and that's fairly disarming. Lithrana, you might be wise in your choice because when they saw giant spiders attacking, guess what their first instinct
Yeah.
was?
I'm just gonna stay back. I'm even gonna like put some stuff on the ground, like make myself look non-threatening if I'm getting watched,
Yeah.
and I'll just have my hands up.
Oh, right. You look up at the camera in the corner and just
Yeah.
show that you're.
I'll like give them a
Yeah.
nod. I'm like, yeah.
No worries.
Lift robe pocket to reveal there is no wand hidden underneath.
Exactly.
So we're good now. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I don't have a spider anymore.
Who are you? They're
I'm
still talking undercommon.
We are traders. Like the kobold said, we have come to trade with you and give you goods that we have brought from Krakelstook.
Oh, do you have a contract?
I'll turn around to ask,
Do we have a contract?
Oh, yes, we signed one.
Yeah, you'll find it in among the rest of the gear. It'll still be there.
Yes, we have a contract. I
Oh.
am their guide.
Oh, this is some important stuff. Ah, well, I suppose you should wait here, and we'll go and get someone to deal with you.
They've asked us to wait here.
and I will just find a rock and take a seat and pluck the darts out from my skin.
I think that's fine.
Sure. All right then. And one of them remains behind, and two of them go off to inform the settlement of your arrival. Would they take the documents with them, assuming that you allow them to? And we wait. Play the waiting game. As we play the waiting game, we get a visitor. The visitor is about, probably about 8 or 9 inches tall, and probably about 2 or 3 feet broad. It slimes and slips across the floor. There's that word slime as a verb again. It crawls across the floor, slithering and moving a little bit like a hand might if it was independent of the arm. It pays us no mind though. It's a mustard-coloured jelly, a mustard ooze, and it just rolls across the floor in front of us, 15 feet away, as if it's completely oblivious to our presence.
I'll just watch it go by. If it doesn't look like it's directly coming towards us, I'm just curiously looking at it. Does it seem to have a destination?
The same direction that we're going. Or rather, the same direction that the gnomes went when they went back to Blingdenstone.
I'll point it out to the gnome that I cocooned. I assume I let him out of it by now, but I'll point it to him.
They've been turning up all over the place, these things, different colours, all sorts of strange creatures, green and purple and that kind of mustard colour. Some of them clear, like this thing here. I want to follow it, says Glabagul. I want to follow.
Maybe we should just wait, Glabagul.
Friend, wait for me. He looks torn.
I step out of the way.
Yeah, no, he's after this ochre. He wants to keep up with it. And the ochre jelly and the gelatinous cube start travelling along together.
Goodbye,
And
slime friend.
thus begins the slowest chase scene ever.
Farewell, surface dwellers.
He
I'm
was
not
nice.
talking to that thing.
They've been coming off from all over the place, different colors, green and yellow, and all sorts of different strange hues. They're dangerous, they is. You put your hand in it and it eats the flesh right off.
Did you ask where they were going?
I ain't never talked to one before, no.
Could you figure out where they were going? They said a whole bunch of them have been turning up.
They seem to be all congregating in one sector of Blingdenstone. You see, Blingdenstone's a little bit of a ruin. It ain't been repaired since it got destroyed 100 years ago. Some of the sectors are real dangerous, like they're still cut off. Why, some of them are full of ghosts, and other ones are drowning in slimes, and there's the were-rat problem. Yeah, it's a lovely place to live. I wouldn't choose to live anywhere else, but it's not without its issues. You know what I'm saying?
How do you know they're rats if you don't know where they are?
Why, they're in there. They're in there deep within the ruins.
So they're their rats.
Sure,
Cool.
pal.
I wish I could fireball.
All right. So we set up a camp and play the waiting game. And the waiting game takes about 4 or 5 hours before someone finally turns up. Someone with a bit of authority, some important dude. You find yourself meeting with an individual called Diggermatic. Yeah, what a great name. Yeah. So you meet with Mr. Diggermatic, and he says, well, hello. Normally my wife would take care of all the financial business, but she's busy ruling the roost right now. And well, anyway, if it's gems, then gems are my specialty. What do you got? You got turquoise? You got topaz? What are we talking here?
I'm not sure what they have exactly. Do you think you could speak in common for them? I do know common.
Kind of passing common. Used to have this dark elf friend, and he'd been to the surface a lot. He taught me a few of the words from up there. I'm not sure I can hold a conversation, but I'll try.
Well, it would help me not have to talk.
Oh, sure, pal. Anything I can do for you?
I'm just their guide. They're the ones who are looking to trade.
Oh, well, what you got there? What sort of gems you got? Something special?
We have 50 hand axes.
Oh, well, that's just dandy. Yeah, no, we'll take them axes. Your hand.
If I check the contact, are we supposed to hand it to someone in particular, or?
Yeah, well, if they come around, I'll say to them, I think we're not meant to be, and then, like, I suppose they'll see me, but we're not supposed to be selling it for ourselves. We were just mercenaries, and we were attacked. And we were just finishing the contract.
Sure, so, who's meant to be?
Snowy, I believe his name was.
Oh, an independent contractor. Who's his next of kin?
Oh, I don't think we were told, were we?
Don't think we were told.
Probably travelled with him and died as well.
I think you had something else to deliver.
I think the goods had destination though, like on the contract, right?
Not
Or was it
really,
just
like
Blingdenstone?
yeah, basically just Blingdenstone. Like, it's a legal authority for this Snowy to come and go. He's recognised as a dude who can be trusted, a reputable merchant. But the actual goods, there's no set buyers for what he's got. It's just this was what was available. This is what he thought they might might need, and so this is what he brought.
And we also have something to deliver to Kazook's Pickstone.
Ah, sure. All right then. Well, I suppose this all checks out. Why don't we let you come into the town and you can talk to Kazook yourself?
Many thanks.
All right then. And he winds you through a couple of miles worth of deceptive tunnels and through secret passages and ways that are hidden by permanent illusions. And he points out a couple of the glyphs, of which there are many. See, this is the most common one, and it looks identical to the one that you ripped off the wall. It protects us from earth elementals that have gone crazy. A lot of them have been going crazy recently. And we use these wards to make sure that they don't get out of control, don't get where they're not supposed to be.
Uh-huh. That's interesting. You check these glyphs often, right?
Oh, well, pretty often, but once you put a glyph in it, it tends to last forever till some asshole comes along and destroys it anyway.
I don't
I
know
look at
anyone.
Badger.
I don't know anyone who would do such a thing. Well,
Sweat.
If I could sweat, I'm covered in fur. I just start panting, I guess.
Yeah.
Nice.
is it hot in here or is it just me?
So wait, so I'm just like, she just thinks, isn't that like the one he just turned off?
I just give you a deadpan look.
No.
And then I suddenly start thinking, don't think about it.
But you say that because you say everything. You think.
Exactly.
Yeah, so just everyone's hearing, don't think about.
So tell me, he asks everyone when he thinks that he's out of earshot with the kobold, why do you travel with one of them? They're the scum of the earth.
Well, I didn't know the drow, so
Drow are cruel, right? Drow are there's no doubt about it. Real assholes. But kobolds, why, they're like maggots.
well, to each their own, I guess. Can't say I'm really attached to him, but he's been a good enough companion for the road.
Ah, like your minion.
I don't think I qualify to have minions.
Hey, comedy relief. Yeah, no, I get it, pal.
I won't correct him.
All right. So you go past mines and past quarries and past farms, such as they are, and the gnomes just like emerge from the woodwork, from the stonework. They you think that you're in an empty passage, but they see that you're who you're with, and he says, everything's all right. Says it in their native language, and they just practically materialize. They're not actually invisible. They're just so stealthy that they pop out of places that you wouldn't have thought people could possibly hide in.
It's like Homer
quarries-
Simpson coming out of the bush.
Just exactly like that. Past quarries and farms and mines, you eventually reach the true outer limits of the town, and the defenses here are incredible and impregnable. How the drow ever got through here in the first place is a history lesson, but it cannot have been easy. You finally reach a set of broad stairs that rise up to a great large terrace, and beyond that is a gate that is closed. But these stairs are built for gnome feet. They're very small, only a few inches long and only a few inches high, requiring you to do dainty little steps on your toes to scramble up them.
Is it those annoying small long steps and you can't like
Yes.
do a full stride, so you have to do like this half stride and it always makes you go out of step?
Yeah, and you're walking on the balls on your feet. It's painful by the end of it, because you're using muscles that you're not used to. before you eventually reach at the top of the stairs, there's a cart lift. A bunch of wagons are secured to a few stone sleds, pulled up a steep chain. The whole thing's operated by an earth elemental pulling this chain along, clank, 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 clank. And it's both magical and industrial to watch this earth elemental working hard, creating this mechanical system of transport. But you're not ushered into that transport. Rather, you're ushered instead into a maze, an absolute maze. The main gates are opened after a brief exchange of words between your host and the guards, and you enter into a death trap, absolute death trap. The gems, much like the ones that you have brought here, are embedded up into the roof in strategic locations. There are also wards that are found all over the walls and the floors and the roof. There are more mundane traps, pits and arrow slits and openings, hatches where boiling oil and acid can be pointed down. And you find yourself walking through one of the most heavily trapped sectors of the entire continent of Faerun, protected by spells and more mundane methods. Does anyone feel any sense of anticipation or anything? You're okay to be in a place where death could be ordered at any instant?
I mean, it doesn't feel great, but I assume with someone leading us, they're not going to kill them as well, right? So
Seems that
I
way.
guess stick as close to that person as possible.
Yeah.
Garn's excited to be meeting new people, but like the books say kobolds need to hate gnomes, so he's a bit conflicted.
Huh. You start winding your way through this absolute labyrinth, up and down, too narrow in some parts, too much climbing involved in others. It's an obstacle course just to reach the next stage of the labyrinth. But you're not here to assault anyone, and so you're not assaulted in turn. You pass on the poisonous smoke and the acid pits and the falling spikes and the pendulum traps and anything else before you finally make it to the gauntlet, the most dangerous sector of all. A pair of stone towers embedded into cavern walls. Through the shuttered windows in each tower, gnomes armed with wands and other gnomes armed with poisoned crossbows, all ready to assail you with fireballs and bolts and all the force that their people can muster. They operate a pair of winches. They open the gate and allow you in with your escort. Ah, so good to be home again, says Jinjar. I miss this place. And when you leave the dark tunnels of the labyrinth, dangerous with their blades and spikes and pits behind, you step into an enchanted town. It's crumbling. There are cracks in the walls, and the decor is falling. The roof is collapsed in some parts, and rubble remains in some locations, blocking a few tunnels. But it's so colourful, so bright. Pictures of rainbows and the sun painted on the walls in brightest yellows and widest range of the spectrum. Plants and mushrooms, creatures from the Underdark, rivers and lakes, mountains and birds, scenes that are both familiar to surface dwellers and close to the hearts of those who've always spent their lives in the Underdark. Decorative scenes, and most of them are bright and cheerful, but there are some older ones, faded, cracked, worn, withered, decaying, and they depict darker times when the Dark Elves came. They depict violence, ruthlessness, torture, massacre, the extermination, the gnome race. But it seems that these faded pictures are somewhat forgotten in the brightness and the optimism of all the art all around you. Welcome to Blingdenstone, travellers.
Thank you for allowing us entry. We've been through a lot out there.
I'll say.
Well, we don't have no inns nor taverns around here, but if you want a bite to eat, then there's a place over there, and if you need a place to sleep, there's a place over there. You can have your baths over there. We don't believe in traditional sense of commerce around here. You're a guest of the city now. That means you're free to kind of go where you want within reason. Have a great time. I'll go and get Kazook for you. Where should I get him to meet you? You want a drink? You want a nap? What you after?
Can't just immediately think, does that mean I can go on the ceiling? He doesn't say anything,
There-
that's just what he thinks.
There is currently a gnome on the ceiling. Down it.
Well, I am somewhat tired from my travels. I think I'll take a nap.
It would be nice to be able to sleep without worrying about dying before you wake up.
But isn't that half the fun?
I wouldn't agree. Even for ourselves, we're still vulnerable in a trance-like state.
Sorry, I just got
So,
delivery.
so who was going to pay us when he got here?
He was, yeah.
Oh, Snowy.
Yeah,
He's going to pay it out of his own pocket, I believe.
yeah, out of his profits, that's right. Yeah.
Well, I guess we get more pay.
I mean, is the contract over?
Well, the contract was to make the caravan reach its destination, so
Is there a
I
demon
would
contract
say
lawyer we
that-
can talk to?
yeah.
I know a lawyer. I can get you a lawyer,
Oh,
but
no.
he doesn't work cheap.
Oh, no.
I'm content to just hand off what we have for free. Just give it to the denizens of Blingdenstone.
Well, maybe it's probably worth enough for a spell book or two and traveling equipment. You want to go to the surface?
Do you think we could? Do you think they would throw in a dulcimer?
A what?
We'll see.
It's like a lute, but it's only got 3 strings, so it's easier to play for me because I've only got 3 fingers and a thumb. Does that mean we want to like talk to like the mayor? Is that what they have here?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, if you'd like to speak to someone in a position of authority, or the guy that was going to sell your gems, I guess they're probably the only 2 real obvious options at this stage, right?
Believe so.
Yeah. All right. Kazook Pickshine comes to you first. The guy who was looking for the gems. Not surprisingly, he's a deep gnome. The guy's getting on in years. He bears a staff in one hand and some robes that make him look remarkably like a cross between someone who has either just gotten out of the bath or is intending to study at a wizard's academy. Bathrobe and his stick. Hello, friends. Thank you for making this journey. I understand you have something of mine.
Yeah, your soul gem?
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. These are very important defensive mechanisms. Do you think you can get any more?
I don't believe so. We're not intending on coming back here.
Oh, sorry to hear that. Here, will this do for payment? And he gives you a large jewel that, if it were a diamond, might be worth 5,000 gold pieces, but it's only a zircon, so it's worth 50. A jewel about the size of your thumbnail.
I suppose.
Oh, well, here you go then. I'm going to go and install these in the defensive systems. We'll make sure that Blingdenstone will never fall again as long as we get enough of these gems.
You say it's worth 50 GP, Zircon?
50, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Ah, damn it! He says as he stepped into an ooze. That thing's gonna eat my boot now. And the little ooze keeps wandering through the streets, but it takes the boot with it and slowly dissolves it as it goes.
Wherever I
walk
walk,
around
I'm going to keep
barefoot
an eye on
and
my
think
feet.
Is it time to be on the wall again to avoid the slimes?
They're getting around. There's
So I mean,
kids are like poking them with sticks, and people are coming out with lamp oil and burning them. It's kind of like a plague of toads or leeches or something. They're some people are ignoring them. Some people are trying to do something about them, but there's just too many to actually
well,
make a difference.
I bet the streets have never been this clean though.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
For some reason, when you said like poking it with a stick, I thought of like a American mom saying, "Jimmy, don't poke the slime." Like just kids poking at it, and then like the mum
It's
getting up them.
It's exactly what's happening right now. And Jimmy keeps poking it, and the slime pops, and now he's got acid in his face. Ah! Told you, Jimmy. I told you.
It's like one damage, then it's explodes.
Precisely.
So, so we're looking for 2 spell books that do some. What else are we looking for?
Goods to get us where we want to go in the Underdark.
We have 100 days of rations.
Well, we need more than just rations to survive the Underdark. Maybe something to cover ourselves while we sleep. But
Well,
let's see how much we can make first.
I think I've figured out a spell which would protect us while we sleep, actually.
Oh,
Oh, you're
Well-
so smart. I suppose that's the reason you're a wizard.
Oh, well.
do you intend to go to the surface, Marielle?
Hmm. No, not yet. I came down here to find the library. Which I'm sure that's what you're after as well.
Yes, well, we have our ins, I guess, to it.
Well, you've proven to be quite an agreeable companion so far.
And yourself, I suppose we've made the unlikely duo.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, I was hoping to get to the library before you when we first met. I didn't like the idea of a dark elf having access to that sort of information. But as I've traveled with you, I don't feel that way anymore.
Well, I'm glad to hear.
Give us a friendly smile.
And we'll try to sell all the stuff.
All right. You get the prices that are listed, but whether for good or bad, they can only pay you in gems.
I suppose we can pay them in gems for spell books and stuff, so I don't think it matters too much.
Yeah, I guess that's right. Yeah.
It's time to do some bookkeeping, I guess.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Okay, hand axes are worth 5 GP each, and we have 50 of them.
Yeah, it's a lot.
When you were asking about the spell books, Alright, so here we go. When you were asking about the spell books, you hear a bit of a tale, a bit of a yarn. The yarn goes something like this. A couple of mercenary magicians came through here relatively recently, a month ago or so. They were powerful magicians by any stretch of the imagination. Their repertoire of spells was extensive. There wasn't so much of a problem with the users back then. It was a problem, but it's not like it is now. But they investigated it. They went to find out what was going on, and they took a few gnome scouts with them. The story that the gnome scouts tell you, and some of them were there, they saw it with their own eyes, is that these great black oozes just dropped out of the ceiling or materialized out of the cracks and enveloped both of these wizards. It took everything. It took their everything they were carrying, including their prized spell books. It's just when you mention spell books, it reminds them of what they saw. And so they tell you this yarn about these two wizards being swallowed, spell books and all by a couple of massive black slime.
How much are the short sword blades worth? Because I doubt they'd be worth like the full price.
Yeah, just half, which is I think they're worth 10 normally, so they're worth 5, if that's correct.
Short swords are worth 10, 5.
Is that right? I think that's correct. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've got like a list open. I think bolts are like 1 GP for 20, right?
I'm sorry, I'm answering. I told delivery to call between like this time and that time. They had a 3-hour window. They're calling me now 2 hours after I told them, so I better just quickly deal with this. But you'll get half price of whatever the player's handbook price is. Yeah, I'll keep half talking to these people while I try to maintain the majority of my attention in your direction. So yeah, is there anything else that that you're able to that you want to sell that isn't I guess obvious, isn't listed in the player's handbook?
Lead sinkers.
Yeah, lead sinkers are worth one copper piece each. Yeah, 1 silver, one silver piece each. Yeah.
And the health potion. How much are they worth?
They normally sell for 50, so you can get 25.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah. But I would have thought that you'd probably keep those things. Yeah.
That's.
I suppose we can keep them.
I didn't even think of keeping them, to be honest. I was like, yeah, that's gold. Didn't even think of like. Didn't even think of what we could use them for. What? They're not hell.
Let's go and buy some healing potions. What do you say, guys?
Oh, while I'm here, I need to buy a tea towel.
All right. Tea towels are 10 times the player's handbook price, which is probably normally a silver. Cost you a gold.
Hell yeah, Blingden Stone and Gracklestug.
The tea towel collection.
Yep, fucking nice. Well, I suppose when we know how much money we have, we can spend it all. How much could I sell the tentacle rod for? If I sell it up as drow, mate.
They'll give you 2,000 gold without negotiation.
Cool. I suppose I'll give that zircon to Dalgrim.
Yeah, sure.
It was his job from thing, so cross that off.
Ooh.
That's
Bit of a shame, really, he says, looking down at it. I was hoping you were going to give me a diamond ring. I mean, it's a bit cheap. But I suppose, what the hell, I do. And he tries to kiss you.
I kick his knees. I just realized Sash will know about this, but we have I think they're the 10 zircons in our treasury, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they were that gnome lady, the Earth Elemental.
Yes, I think so. They came from somewhere. That would probably be right.
Hey guys, I'm not too good at math, but I think this is right.
Why did we let the kobold do our bookkeeping?
With a kobold accountant.
Kobold accountant.
I
Let's
thi-
play an
I
Everon game.
I
Where
think
they
that's
were
how
all
much
kobold.
money we'd get if we didn't sell the health potions, but everything else apart from the oaths.
Well, let's get that 500 copper into 5 gold. 10 be 10,250. 10,510. 2,510. GP total, that right?
I think so. That's not including the tentacle rod gold either, but I imagine that's mostly
No.
yours.
Oh, I don't mind. We have a good bit of stuff in the treasury still.
Well, if we're gonna, we might as well, seeing as we're so close to the end, might as well hand out and buy
Yeah.
some stuff. We're
Are
probably
we
not
going
gonna
to get
end
rid
up
of like the 8 oaths? But we're not going to get away. We're going to keep plants though, aren't we?
I think we're just getting rid of them all. We were supposed to give them away. How much do roast normally go for? That would be
Roth will probably sell for down here would probably sell for about 25 gold.
oh shit.
Yeah, we don't really need beasts of burden anymore.
But plants is our friend.
Well, you've already got your own beast, so just stick it to that.
Well, are they going to look after him?
I'm sure they will.
Yeah, if we were gonna sell them to anybody, deep gnomes are
Because
good.
remember, like
Good
he's a
candidate.
ghost. He had a very tragic backstory.
I'm sure it'll be treated very nicely.
That's all the gold stuff in the treasury.
The 8 Roth, does that include plants? Then?
I think so. Oh no. No, it'd be. Oh, it might be. I wouldn't have a clue.
'Cause how are we going to carry 100 days worth of rations without him?
Well, that's assuming that we weren't. It's assuming we were gonna hand those off.
The 8 doesn't include Prancer.
Okay. Because I thought we were keeping plants and a boat cart thing, and we're going to put all the rations in that.
So selling the tentacle rod, we have 5.3. Okay.
Pretty good. The only thing I can think to get is just an actual spell book and some ink to write spells into it. Although I don't suppose it's really necessary to do too much shopping, seeing as we're so close to the end.
Yeah, I'll probably just grab a Dulcimer, and that's about all I need.
Is there anything else anybody else wanted to get?
Think so. How much would like? I don't suppose it's a thing that we could get like build out custom made spell books with our spells in it.
Yeah. They've got some really ace magicians here, and they'd be willing to transcribe spells by spells. It'll be 25 gold pieces for probably double now to get them transcribed. So 50 gold pieces for a first level spell, 150 for a second level spell, 375 for a third level spell, and 750 for fourth level spell. They'll throw in the book for free. I'll give you those numbers. 25, 75, 175, 375, 7. It's up to fifth level.
Oh, do you think we need to warn someone about the giant mushroom person?
The
That
mushroom.
might be the mushrooms. It might be worth mentioning it at least to someone.
Do you think people at the library will be able to communicate over like distance and then get like important people like to come and fix the problem?
Possibly. My eventual goal to get there, but I've never been there.
While you're walking around town, you'll see that there are some soldiers who are being. They're not very good, but they're learning. And their sergeant, their drill instructor, is dead. He is insubstantial. He has no flesh. He is quite clearly a ghost. But he's pretty demanding, and he clearly has their respect. And he's drilling them, getting them to march and adopt different stances and formations, and telling them that in his day, gnomes were capable of far much more than what these laggards are. He's denigrating them a little bit, but getting them into shape. Yeah, and you're able to watch this event.
Garnet, he'll think that's the spirit, and then he'll giggle, but then he'll realize everyone heard it anyway.
That's not bad.
That's the spirit. God damn it.
Alright, is there anything else that you need to buy, sell, swap, trade, barter?
Oh yeah, Dulcimer for 25 gold.
Go ahead.
Suppose that can come out of the party fund.
I'll just adding up my spells and I'll let you know. I don't know about your spell book, Mario. It's probably the same actually. See?
Well, I'm not sure how many spells I actually have because I anticipated finishing this campaign with never getting a spell book.
Ha!
I cut out all of the ones that I don't have prepared just to
Well,
get rid of all the clutter in my spell list.
1945.
Was a good year.
Another was like, I might spend so many thousands of gold out of the 5,000 gold that I can't give you 25 for an instrument.
We're wizards with high maintenance.
That's right.
I reckon mine would probably be roughly the same cost, but
Yeah, I
Yes.
think by rights it should be exactly the same. We haven't added
Exactly the
spells,
same.
so.
Yeah, I think it'll be. So.
Oh, but did I add the last two from the last level up? Who knows?
We'll just go with that.
Yeah, let's go with that. 38.90 total. Yeah, we got 25 gold to spare.
Well,
The bard has an instrument.
hooray! The wizards have spell books. We're a real party now. The campaign can begin.
We've spent that much.
see. I imagine the plan would be to divide what's left among the party and stay the night, get something to eat, and then each of us have our own objectives. I think some of us want to go to the surface, some of us want to remain down here.
Yeah, well, I think since it's the last session, obviously, it's pretty much just going to be like farewells to the other characters because I don't know what Vexbor's doing. I guess we could ask Vexbor, what's
Yeah,
going on?
Vexbor, he wants to go up to the surface because he wants to be a hero.
Oh, I
He's
suppose
heard
Dawn wants
stories
to go
about
there
them.
too.
Yeah. Maybe
Well, he's
he'll
already saved his princess,
feign
saved
undercurrent.
me from falling to my death.
Any further thoughts, guest Vexpor?
No, I'm just saying that Vexpor would want to go up to the surface with the rest of them who's going.
Mm-hmm. Witness the dawn.
Yeah.
I think most of us are going to the surface. I assume Jim Jar's going to stay in Blingdenstone.
I mean, there's a few people going to the library, right?
Yeah, me, Marielle. I think that's it.
And Sane as well, I think.
Just
Ah.
those smart people. Ugh.
Although I still have my fierce distrust of Sane, so privately I'd say to Lithrana to leave
Leave him
just the two of
behind.
us and leave him behind, and he'll would then be forced to go up to the surface with the others.
I'll draw him a fake map.
Brutal.
I don't want to get him killed necessarily, but just thwart his ambitions to go to the library. Although if you give him a false map without me knowing, I wouldn't be able to say no.
I'm going to divide it by 6 because that accounts for Dalgrim and Old Man too. His name? Bearman. Badger. Could not
Got
think
the
of his.
Bam bitches.
I said Bearman.
Oh, Bam.
Yeah.
What does Badger plan to do? Is he heading to the surface, or is he staying down below for one
I'd
reason or another?
say
He's not
surface. I
getting-
think he's a
I think
druid of
He's
like
getting a meat, getting a meal.
Saloon, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, and he can't see the moon.
Yeah, that's right. Oh man, I remember that.
He's heard room.
Well, after all, how many people have seen that guy? So how is that so different?
Well,
Yeah, so yeah. Sash won't be back until he's back, since there's
Yeah.
technical issues. I've got my delivery. Those 10 minutes. No, faith in them. I've got no idea when they'll turn up. But you do you have any more trading to do, or is that as much as you're aware of?
I think that's it. Yeah.
That's it. All right. You are honoured guest at Digomatic Hall. You're called before not the royal family, because there is no royal family here. Blingdenstone did have a monarchy once, but right now it's more like a republic, although an unelected one. It's really just a provincial resettling town where leadership hasn't really been decided. But it turns out that the closest thing that they do have to a leader are a man who is in charge of mining and a woman who is in charge of accounting and policy and justice. And it turns out you've already met one of them. The Digomatic who came out to meet you is not exactly a king, not exactly a chief, but it seems that he is one of the de facto rulers here. You find him with 24 or so Svirfneblin in a well-lit cavern. Some of them are moving briskly around with messenger pouches in hands, and others are huddling around stone tablets, maps, and other papers. They talk in hushed, serious tones, clearly trying to avoid you hearing what they're talking about, even though it's nothing more than mundane business. And at the back of the room, you can see a dais carved from the rock of the cavern, couple of stone desks that face each other. A man, a woman, Digomatic and his wife, they're at the desks and they're currently conferring with advisors when you enter. Ah, here they are right now. This is the one I was talking about, dear. These are the travelers that brought the goods. Look at all these. This is quality hand axes that they got here. It's good stuff, I'm telling you.
Hello, gnomes.
Welcome to our society, his wife says. I'm so glad to have some peaceful visitors. But tell me, how did you manage to survive the Underdark? Where have you come from? You don't seem to be professional.
Well, to start, we were, well, Marielle and I here. We were prisoners of the Drow, and survived by chance.
Prisoners of the Drow. Fascinating story. You care to tell me? And she gets them to deliver some drinks and some food and some fairly comfortable chairs, and she hopes to sit down and have you just go through step by step every detail, if you would, of the journey that you've been through. If you want to summarize that briefly, or if you don't, that's entirely up to you. But she does want to hear a story.
Well, I guess with my keen mind, I guess I can pretty do it to the detail.
Yeah.
Like I'm giving her a YouTube video. Oh, here you go. Look at this.
So she interrupts it a couple of times. Do you think that this is some kind of example of demonic influence? It seems to me that demons are going crazy in the Underdark right now.
Well, yeah, we think so. Gracklstug was not what we expected. Demon, weird, strange black stones, like.
And here in
Corruption
Blingdon,
of the glade.
that sounds real creepy. Like I've never heard of a Viking that don't want to dance before, and I don't know why they'd want to have a wedding when they ain't got no gender.
It is very unusual.
Here in Blingdenstone, we're practically drowning in slimes, as you've no doubt noticed. They seem to confer and converge in one kind of column, one cave, one sector of the ruins. You see, Blingdenstones ain't been fully reclaimed yet. But we got a problem with the oozes, and we got a problem with wild earth elementals just wandering around. And her husband says, and we got a problem with were-rats. The were-rats are not a problem, she says. The were-rats are our citizens. They got a disease, a contagious one, where, like if lycanthropy gets into our community and we could lose everyone, we'll turn into a goddamn town of were-rats. It's not going to be like that. They're just like us. We can learn to trust them. We can learn to work together. What do you think? He turns. You've been around the block. You've seen how things are. Do you really think that we can coexist peacefully with lycanthropes? They're going to disease us all.
Well, I mean, we have a drow, an elf, and a kobold. Like we're friends.
But you can't catch drow.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. I ain't never grown nothing. Started stabbing my sister in her sleep because I hang around a drow one time. No, but lycanthropes, they spread a disease. And what you got, there ain't no cure. Only cure is a silver dagger through the heart.
I mean, don't they have to, like, bite you or something?
Of course they're going to bite you, but it's a bit easy, you know? All it takes one little bite. And that's your life gone. You're no longer a poison. You're a beast. They are people. And you got to start treating them like people. The wife counters. But he's not listening, you know. They're monsters.
Well, if it's proven that the were-rats can be trusted, there are certain benefits to lycanthropy, isn't there? Their strength could be used to help defend Blingdenstone.
That's what I'm trying to say to my husband. They've got a role, they've got a place. There's a place for these people, and it might be in the front line. Do you think you could possibly talk to them? And we're a little bit too trusting sometimes, and a little bit too paranoid at other times. Do you think you could go down and see if maybe they've, got good intentions, good hearts or not? Good hearts? They're infected and rotten to the core. What are you talking about, lady? Women, these were-rats are nothing but trouble.
Have they caused any trouble yet?
Oh, well, they've probably infected some of the kids, you know? I'm sure they've infected people. Of course they have, because they got a disease.
But nothing confirmed.
Well, they can hide. Seriously? Has anyone gone disappearing? Yes, sometimes people do. It's probably the were-rats.
Well, I think it'd be worth giving them the benefit of the doubt until it's proven that you can't trust them.
What about the users? Is anything gonna do anything about that?
Well, I don't know much about them, but if they're all gathering in one place, it can't be good.
Oh,
Do oozes have the
you tried-
ability to
have you
fuse
tried that?
together?
Yeah, that question, that's a good one.
What question?
Do oozes have the ability to fuse together?
Well, anybody who's gone in... looks like my delivery might be here.
Ready?
False alarm, just people on a motorbike randomly stopping outside of my apartment. We sent a couple of mages up there, powerful ones, to go and have a look, but they didn't ever come back. A couple of scouts said they saw them get devoured by the shadows or something.
I mean, shadows don't eat people. The things in the shadows eat people.
Slimes and whatever, goo, sticky stuff. I don't know the circumstance.
I'm not sure what more we could do.
It's all right. It's our problem. I'll take care of it. Well, thank you for your deliveries. It means a lot to us. I understand you brought us some spell gems. They're crucial in our defenses. So thank you for that. And you'll always be welcome to come back if you've got any goods, whether it's from Grakenstug or the surface or anywhere in between. If we need it, we got gems to trade for it.
Keep that in mind.
Without any further business for these rulers, you find yourself at the Foaming Mug, guest house that has the glorious honor of above the favorite drinking hole of Drizzt Do'Urden, hero of the surface.
I
You
think
go
I read
and
a
get
book about that guy.
you can read all the books there. They've got multiple copies of all the books. And so you go, you get a beer at the Foaming Mug, and when you finish that beer, you get another beer, Dark Lake Stout, Dark Lake Stout, Dwerger beer, a black beer, and they've got unlimited amounts of it, and they don't charge you for it. Their understanding of business is limited, it would seem, but free beer, free accommodation, everything.
After weeks of stress, getting a little tipsy seems like a good prospect. Unwind a little bit while we have the opportunity.
So Khan's probably like a sad drunk because it's just like, what's he supposed to do now? It's like, because he wants to get his master out, but like, how do you persuade a dragon who's like the biggest coward to like, oh, you need to go back to the surface because like the big mushrooms are gonna come and get you? Probably to make him hide even further in the dangerous dungeon.
Yeah, well, imagine trying to persuade someone with an argument like that. The mushrooms are coming to get you.
Yeah, the surface is a much safer place for a red dragon.
As long as you stay away from all the adventurers.
And he probably thinks there's someone on the surface needs to be told about. Like this. What's happening underneath?
Yeah, I suppose what happens downstairs is going to happen upstairs later.
Wait, is Garn going to be like Commander Shepard when he goes and tells people about the mushrooms, but they're like, Reapers don't exist?
Yeah, I feel like no one will believe you that there's killer mushrooms that could threaten the surface.
I have very high persuasion. Are there any heroes in my book of stories that my character could go for?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Dritz de Erden, right?
Yeah, he'll help me.
That's right, and if he doesn't, then surely his mate Bruno Battlehammer would.
There's probably even someone in town here that can help.
Absolutely.
Fucking man, I've said that, I can't remember his name.
Oh, that dude. I haven't
Yeah,
read books in 30 years.
Oh yeah, fuck.
He was known, right? Right?
Yeah, he didn't have hands.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had a pickaxe in one hand, hammer in the other, and they were both like adamantine, magically enchanted.
Like, I was going to say that's metal, but that's literally metal, so kind of a pun. If he's not here, they certainly know about him, and they're able
Belwar
to...
Disengol.
Belwar Disengol. They give you directions to the surface, up to Mithril Hall, which isn't quite at the surface, but anyway. And if you want someone important to tell, then you will be able to get like a letter of commendation from the gnomes, so that the dwarves know to take you seriously.
I was saying this might be a good idea because, like, if the dwarves come back down to kill the big mushroom, I can like split off at some point to get my master, and then we can get back to the surface, like with the dwarves.
Yeah.
See, being drunk is helpful. Like this, he'll try to get that letter of commendation.
All right, and yeah, they're Diggermatic. They both met you themselves, so Mrs. Diggermatic signs up a writ, a legal writ, and it will be it's basically enough to grant you an audience with someone within the Lord's Alliance or Battlehammer or someone like that.
I got a new quest, guys.
sure you'll see it through to the end.
So, like, what should we do now?
Rest for the first time in a long time. I mean,
Give
truly
you-
rest.
Yeah, you can. You can relax. They have hot baths, one for cleaning, and one where you kind of share your bath with a friend. It's all stops are pulled out for you, even though you're not paying, even though you're not even anyone particularly special. It just seems that they treat their guests like royalty. They are just really nice people, and they've also got a lot of money too. They're being gem miners, they have no shortage of cash. What they have a shortage of is luxuries and fresh goods. And as long as people like you keep bringing them in, then their society has the comforts that other people take for granted. So they treat you well.
I suppose if
But
they're
their
doing
range
stuff
is limited.
for free, my character can do stuff for free. Like he's got lay on hands and less restoration if there's any disease or anything.
See, this is how it works. Communism. Like, we all get along together. Everyone does their part. No, see, communism works in gnome settlements.
Yeah, so Belwa, after the attack, Lindenstone from Enzo Barons, he actually led the refugees out to Mithril Hall. He was the leader of the ones that escaped Lindenstone before it fell to ruin.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah. I only read the books like last year. I struggle to remember them. But I guess if we want to spend a few days here, get our spell books transcribed, and then we're leaving, I think.
I mean, that sounds good. You want to go and talk to the were-rats?
Well, do we? I guess. Marielle?
Try. I don't think it would take us too far out of our way. We do have a lot of time left.
I guess my character will pack some cheese then.
I guess we apologize and say we can't do it.
Yeah, just tell me what your decision is.
I think pretty much be the end of the session, so it'll be
Yeah.
Marielle and I think just you and me,
I think so.
traipsing through the Underdark to find the library.
In search of the library. A library that is only found by those who are meant to find it. And it reveals its passage to you after a long search. And having reached this library, you are able to discover that it is unlike any in the world, and not unlike anything, even Candlekeep. For every event that has ever occurred within the Underdark is transcribed here magically. It just there are a series of stone giants who seem to be psychically connected with the fabric of the world, and they kind of see what happens in the Underdark as it happens, and the most important things are transcribed by these dozen giants working constantly. You could go back 35,000 years, and it would tell you what's been happening since the dawn of time.
Wow. I'd certainly be interested to see if there's any history that these giants have recorded that conflicts with what is popularly known.
Well, you discover that the elves caught the spell plague, so that's pretty weird.
Oh,
Yeah, elven hubris.
But yeah, that sounds about right.
You also discover that there was never any kingdom by the name of whatever Durendal called his kingdom.
Saddens me greatly.
Hmm.
Yeah, Darendal deserved better. Maybe the archives are incomplete. Just go to the most
Exactly.
complete library in the world that's magically up to
Yeah.
date with the most perfect divination. It's like, yes, you're missing
But
something.
only Underdark stuff, and his realm was not on the Underdark, so it could very well be infinite.
As I'm studying, I'm just thinking, wishing that I could have saved him, even if he was just a Quaggoth that believed that he was an elven prince. To try and help him work through that and come to terms with the fact that he's just a Quaggoth, and that he's not any less valuable because of that. But I'll never have the opportunity.
Yeah,
Wait, what's that druid spell that makes people into a different race?
reincarnation.
Just buy one of them. It's been less than 5 days.
I think his body floated downstream.
You don't need the body, you just need its name.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit weird.
Provided
Huh.
the creature's been dead no longer than 10 days, the spell forms a new body for it. A new adult body for it.
We don't
Wow.
know 9th level druid magic, unfortunately.
It's 5th level druid magic.
Oh, 5th level, wow.
Don't we have are we 9th level yet? Not quite.
8.
Right. Right.
Just need to find a druid.
Badger will know one.
I also think it'd be hilarious if he came back as an elf.
Of course he comes back as an elf.
That would be pretty fitting.
Certainly will. Here we go, my delivery is here.
Are they?
Because a few days ago, something like if he came up across a lot of money, he was like, just give it to Badger to cast that spell. is anyone there?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
just waiting for Arctic here.
Just, you're just waiting patiently. While he collects his delivery.
I just got bacon delivered to me. I'm going to be like the first bacon I've had in half a year. So, pretty
Fuck.
excited.
Oh,
Tell me about it.
Sounds great.
suppose you don't realize what you're missing until something like that happens, eh?
Precisely, man. It's pretty bizarre. Pretty bizarre. All right. Yeah. I guess since this is where we're ending it,
I guess this is
someone
what
tell-
Garn's doing.
and Sorn as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, forgot.
So Sorn, tell us about your what progression lies before you.
Well, he had always wanted to be a hero and
Yeah.
get up to the surface, and he had heard stories of powerful wizards and mighty warriors, and he couldn't really make up his mind, so that's why he was an Eldritch Knight, so he could dabble in both. He probably just traveled from place to place, helping out the common man, and he just
Mm,
gradually do bigger and bigger things.
mm,
But faced a lot of prejudice along the way, being a hobgoblin. But
mm. That prejudice is alleviated
everything.
somewhat because one of the first people that you meet when you get to the surface is none other than King Brunor Battlehammer. You have this writ. You're one of the experts, and you are Dawnbringer. You bear this weapon of unquestionable holiness, a legendary weapon that educated sages might have read about in their books. So, what message do you have for King Brunor Battlehammer when he asks you, well, I've heard reports of some strange activity in the Underdark, or tell me what's going on down there?
I'll give them the kind of lowdown of how there was a group of escape drop prisoners, and then they stumbled across me. We made it to the not Quaggoth. What's the fish people?
Kuatoa.
Yeah, the Kuatoa. We made it to their city, and they summoned a demon, possibly a devil, but I think it was a demon. I think it's still running around down there, actually.
One demon
Perhaps
doesn't sound like a major problem. People summon
Oh.
demons every day.
No, I saw this thing in my nightmares actually before
Oh,
it was actually summoned. It was huge. What, 20, 30 feet tall, maybe? 2 heads,
wow.
I think it was. It was enormous.
He
So,
consults with his sages and his viziers, and they say that this
Yeah.
does sound terrifying indeed.
I think what Vexpor will do is that once he thinks he's like right at the cusp of being a hero, his final test will be to go back into that Underdark and face off against it.
Excellent. Excellent. You lead a army. Eventually, it takes a while for the army to gather, but eventually you will lead an army the Lord's Alliance have paid for directly into the Underdark. But without the strength of a party, it is likely that your quest is doomed.
Yeah, that's fair. He's gotta try though.
He's got to try, and Dawn is with you until the very end. Although you cannot save the Underdark, you can at least prevent the surface from having to bear the brunt of this chaos. But yes, as a sole operator, heroic though you are, the duo of you and Dawn just proves to be inadequate.
Yeah.
Until you link back up again with a couple of sages who have been studying the history of the Underdark deep within this secret library, and together with their knowledge and with your bravery, you are at least able to contain the evil, prevent it from spilling up.
That might well be one of those
Wonderful.
sages.
And indeed you are one of them. And finally, our kobold.
He probably do God on his word to go to, I think it was Mirabar, was the suggested area, and with his letter to tell them about the Myconid problem.
They completely underestimate the threat. Mushrooms aren't dangerous. Yes, sure, they can be a threat in the Underdark, but we've got dragons and giants and goblin hordes, and you want us to be worried about mushrooms?
I suppose he could try to convince them to send it like a scouting party down first to have a look at it, and then once they're dwarven, once they see it, they'll see the risk, and then they'll have to trust them.
Yes, and the scouting party does report exactly what you said, and Mirabar gets behind the Lord's Alliance army that Sorn leads, and your information proves to be very valuable.
And he'll probably use the scouting expedition as an excuse to go in and try to convince his master to leave the Underdark. It's not safe there anymore.
Alright. Unfortunately, for all our efforts, although we have mitigated some of the damage, we can't truly prevent the corruption from permanently infecting Faerun. Eventually, Demogorgon is defeated and driven back, and eventually Orcus, the Lord of the Dead, and Jubilex, the Lord of the Slime, are contained, and their influence does not spread. But there is one among the demon princes who thrives. Having suffered no serious setbacks, Zugutmoy is able to complete her plan, her romantic plan to get married. And she marries Oromykos. And together Zugutmoy, the demon queen of fungi, and Oromykos blend. They become one being, one sentience. And if you knew what Oromykos was, then perhaps that would hit home what a terrible thing this is. For Oromykos is the largest creature in Faerun, Forgotten Realms, almost certainly by far. For it is as big as the High Forest is large, and the High Forest is the biggest forest in the known world. Oromykos is a mushroom, a single mushroom colony that dwells below the High Forest, and Zugutmoy's intelligence has melded with this creature, now giving her influence over literally hundreds and hundreds of square miles.
That makes me imagine that the High Forest would eventually end up looking like the Weald from Darkest Dungeon.
Nice, yeah, good call. And so it does. And so a set of heroes must set out to trim back this fungal jungle and bring purity back to the land.
Is that the next campaign?
But that's another story.
A story for another time. And I guess that's the end of Out of the Abyss.
The end.
The end.
I guess at the end I guess I'll stay in Arctic. It's been very fun, like despite like all the setbacks.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah, so goodbye internet for the last time.
Thanks,
Goodbye,
everyone.
Ciao.